Hey, this is Andy Norris, fresh off my second place. Well, really tied for first place, but I did lose the playoff. And how could we ever forget Floyd Pepper's shot off that short tee at Coachman into the street? Many were heard to remark, Andy, there's no way you could go long on that hole. Floyd differed. Bass player, what are you going to do? Awesome note there. Now, of course, we always have to start and talk about our favorite Muppet, Kermit. Kermit is really where my Muppet obsession started, and it has kind of progressed to your Floyd Pepper era. Now, Kermit is my go-to, like money, Rainbow Connection. Listen to the song. It is about putting. You didn't know this, but Kermit was an avid disc golfer. They just didn't really talk about it much. And of course, in the bag next to Kermit is his main man, Super Grover. Usually used for the higher risk shots, but Kermit is a little bit afraid because, you know, he is a small and delicate frog, and Super Grover is, well, a superhero. Of course, many people's favorites is Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster goes a little bit more right than Kermit, so I use him in those like longer turnover shots, definitely off the tee. Cookie Monster has been known to throw a couple putts like Kermit, but you know, Kermit definitely the go-to putter. And just a word about Kermit and Grover. Can you see the new luster on them? Always get yourself new putters. Screw that old stuff. Get yourself new Muppets for every new tournament. Now, speaking of Floyd Pepper again, we'll just talk about my favorite Muppet. One of my favorites, and this really goes back to childhood, is Animal. When I was growing up, they had Muppet puppets, and Animal was always the one I wanted because, of course, Animal, you don't have to do anything fun except Animal, and eat things. Again, like the Cookie Monster Muppets. Anyway, so I was obsessed with Animal. Animal is, of course, the drummer for the band. And if in case you didn't know, that's Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Now, the whole band has a tendency to go just, like ridiculously left, but sometimes you do need to turn left, and that's where you grab your Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. Now, Animal, forehand or backhand, I will say that Animal was kind of that lead off, right in the middle of that 5-birdie stretch in the second round, like just dialed in on that forehand. Can't say enough about him. Clearly the rhythm section is in full effect. Now, speaking of going left, the Bear's a comedian. Not always funny, and it was really one of the Muppets that you're like, do you even put a comedian in the bag when you're going to a big tournament? Do you want to be that funny? And I'm telling you, he didn't make the trip on the first round, -5, but on the second round, the socks, I will point out that when Lorna said, these are the socks for today, they were money, and they do have Fozzie Bear, so Fozzie Bear definitely did need to come on the ride. Really a money disc if you need to go crazy left, stupid funny left, Fozzie Bear. Now, really my T Animal is the Count, because Count always starts with 1! Now, if you have never seen the Count unnecessarily censored on YouTube, you should do yourself a favor and watch that today. Very awesome. And if you really need like a tee shot, you should always start by counting at 1. Still has never stopped at 1. Usually it's 1, 2, 3. You get the deal. But stopped all of my counting at the second round of the Coachman with no bogeys, so I did not count past the number 3. Now, Baby Skeeter is a new addition to the bag, and really one of the last Muppets because, as everyone knows, like even before my obsession with Muppets, I've always loved the roller. Roller life is real, and I needed a Muppet roller. And originally I was going to go with Scooter, her brother, but just found this picture of Baby Skeeter as a baby. Really loves to cartwheel. Whee! Not really a factor at Coachman, not a super fun roller course, although I did probably throw her a couple times to disastrous effect on the first day. Got a little benched on the second day, Baby Skeeter. Now, who could of course forget, and going back into our jazz set, this is Zoot, and again, Zoot Allures is an allusion to Frank Zappa. Not well known that the saxophonist for the Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem was a big Frank Zappa fan. That's really a deep cut. This is one of a rare picture of him without his hat covering up his baldness. I feel that bald is beautiful, although I do cover mine up with a fancy headscarf. We all do what we can. Now, this one originally was owned by one Don Johnson, but he did not see the beauty of jazz, and he did trade this to me, one beautiful blue disc, that he didn't see the jazz that was underneath that was Zoot. Your Muppets do hide in plain sight. You're probably in possession of several Muppets that you don't know about right now. One has to look deeply into the disc soul to find the Muppet inside. Speaking of Muppets, one of everyone's favorite Muppets is, Oscar. And this is where you need that long turnover. Oscar will just hold that right-hand turn. Very angry, one could say very right-wing. We do not know why he is so angry and why he only goes right. But, Oscar is examining his views, and he is really softening in his old age. Put just on a slight hyzer, just flips up a little bit and goes straight. But that's about as good as he can do. Now, speaking of very straight, Sam the Eagle. He is a go-to. You just need it to be straight. Forehand, backhand, whatever angle you put Sam the Eagle on, he is a straight flyer. Famous catchphrase from Sam the Eagle, "You're all weirdos." Now, of course, no Muppet bag would be complete without a Gonzo, a baby Gonzo. Again, we saw it in the same album as Baby Skeeter. This is from his human Muppet Cannonball days, because as we know, Gonzo is not a human nor anything other than a Muppet, and does love chickens. I was trying to find a disc to put a chicken on, but it didn't make the bag, but still in the works is maybe a chicken for Gonzo to fly with. Now, one of the newest Bunsen is Bunsen Honeydew. Now, explosive disc. I mean, normally you would say not that good off the tee. You're saying it's not one of those mainline drivers like the band. But again, we remember that Zoot is still one of my favorite mid-ranges. But Bunsen Honeydew, really more explosive off the tee, really can hold that line. And then, of course, the most explosive off the tee is, of course, his assistant Beaker that does a lot of the high wire acts. So Bunsen does more of the short range, where Beaker is like the more longer hyzer bomb. Beaker, very explosive. Now, I believe that ends our bag of Muppets, but wait, there's more. There's a Sesame Street Mini. I'm still working on the full Muppet Show Mini. Now, in the sidecar, I do have one disc that's in a tryout phase right now. The bag's out of Muppets, it fell over. Now, this is in the tryout phase. Big Bird used to be one of my in with the trio of Sesame Street characters that are, of course, all for the small counting of 1s, 2s, and 3s. Got retired in favor of Super Grover for a little while. We're still not sure. There's a little bit of a controversy in the Muppet world, especially on the street, over are you a Grover or a Big Bird fan. It has got pretty heated, so Big Bird did decide to move into a different spot, trying to compete with Baby Skeeter for the roller roll. We're still not sure about Big Bird if he is. We're going to see if he'll fly, because he's clearly not rolling very well right now. And that's about it. Now, one would ask, where's Kermit's main boo, Miss Piggy? Now, Miss Piggy did make the bag on the first trip, the first day of the Coachman Classic, where I did shoot a record for him, -5, beating my previous record of -2, set the year before at the Coachman Classic by 3. Now, as friends can attest, this was the days before Muppets, and the next round was disastrous. And then the next round after that, because it was 2 rounds in one day and another one on Sunday, both very bad the first year. This next year going in, worried. Piggy had really underperformed, and Kermit was sick of her. Now, she did get to sit in the car, just in case, because Coachman, you do sometimes, you could run to the car and grab your Piggy if you needed her. Now, I was playing against Mikey Vaughn Jr. Jr., fearsome competitor, noticed my Muppets just tearing it up. And he made a comment. He's like, "Where's Piggy?" I said, "She's in the car. She's been benched." Now, Piggy does like to go home with the winner, so Piggy did go home as a special prize to Junior. So Junior does possess the very lustrous Miss Piggy. I do have an old Miss Piggy still available to me for the bag, but does sit in the same spot as the explosive Beaker, and everyone knows Beaker, much better than Miss Piggy. But Kermit, my main man, if he loves Piggy, we'll bring her back.